Today, we're diving into a seriously wild story in history. We're talking about a guy named Stalin and how he basically became the ultimate boss of the Soviet Union. The big question we're tackling is, why didn't the Soviet elite, these super important and powerful people, team up and kick him out when he was actively, purging most of them? It was a crazy time in history, so let's get into it. Stalin launched something called the Great Purge. Imagine it like a massive, terrifying cleanup operation. But instead of cleaning, he was getting rid of people. His main goal? To become the absolute, unchallenged sole ruler of the Soviet Union. He didn't want anyone else sharing the spotlight or having any power that wasn't directly from him. During this Great Purge, the numbers are just jaw-dropping. We're talking about 1 million people, mostly these Soviet elites, being executed. And millions more? They were sent to brutal forced labor camps, basically prisons where you worked until you dropped. Can you even imagine? Among those executed were incredibly famous and important figures like Bukharin, Zinoviev, Kamenev, Trotsky, etc. These were some of the original big names of the Bolshevik Revolution. Even famous international communists, people like Bela Kun and Karl Radek, were swept up and executed. And get this, 3 out of the first 5 top generals, the marshals of the Soviet Union, were also killed. It's like a complete wipeout of the top leadership. So how did Stalin pull this off without anyone stopping him? He was super cunning, like a grand chess master who was always 5 moves ahead. He didn't just purge everyone all at once. Nope, that would be too obvious, too easy for people to unite. Instead, Stalin played a brilliant but terrifying game of divide and conquer. Think of it like this. He'd team up with one group of powerful people, say Faction A, to get rid of Faction B, who he saw as a threat. Once Faction B was gone, he'd then turn on his own allies from Faction A and get rid of them. He even purged the secret police at one point because they were, believe it or not, purging too many people that he didn't want purged, or maybe they just knew too much. It was a constant, vicious cycle of getting rid of anyone who might be a threat, even if they were on his side just a moment ago. This created so much fear and distrust that no one knew who to trust, let alone unite with. And it wasn't just about getting rid of people. It was about controlling everything. Take the Winter War, for example, a war the Soviet Union fought. They actually struggled a lot, partly because Stalin had these political officers constantly messing with the regular army's decisions. He just couldn't let go of control, even if it meant hurting the war effort. He had to have his fingers in every single pie. It's wild, but World War II actually made the Soviet Union look stronger than it was. Why? Because Stalin was forced to chill out on the total control thing just so they could actually win the war. He had to let the generals, like the super important General Zhukov, actually do their jobs without constant interference. And that's also why he never dared to mess with Zhukov. The army was finally united and strong during the war, and Stalin couldn't safely pick it apart anymore without risking everything. See, Stalin was a really good behind-the-scenes guy, a master at party politics. People initially thought they could use him to get rid of their enemies, but then he'd turn on them until there was literally no one left to challenge him. He replaced almost all the top party members between 1934 and 1938. We're talking a staggering 1,200 out of 1,300 top positions. It's like he just hit the reset button on the entire leadership and filled it with people completely loyal to him, people who owed him everything. So, while some might argue he started the purges to protect the Communist Party from imagined threats, it quickly became a brutal, efficient way for him to consolidate absolute power. He made sure the army was always kept in check, never allowing them to become too independent or a potential threat. It was a complete overhaul, all to ensure that only one person was at the very top, Joseph Stalin. Pretty wild and incredibly terrifying, right?